Hey there, this is Dr. Tall Paul Simon, psychiatrist. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about marijuana, the good, bad, and ugly. There's a lot of misinformation out there. A lot of it's coming from these companies that are promoting marijuana and trying to get people to use more for whatever purposes, usually to make money. I always say follow the money in whatever you do, and it's important when you're thinking about important things like that, including marijuana, to follow the money. Follow the money. So, what does the data really show about marijuana, and what do I think about it from a psychiatric standpoint? Well, makes people feel good. That's why they do it. Most people it makes them feel good. Some people are going to make them feel paranoid, and that aspect of it does increase the risk of people developing schizophrenia and other psychotic disorders. There's a big study out of Amsterdam where it's been legal for a long time, that especially in young adult males, that it's been shown to increase the risk of developing schizophrenia by over 400%. And that's regular use, more than a couple times a week. But even casual users, a couple times a week or less, over 200% increase in schizophrenia. So that's one example of a study that's been coming out that shows really that there is some risk to it. Other studies show that it has a strong correlation with anxiety problems, depression. Now, some of that is self-medicating, people trying to escape their problems by feeling better by any means necessary. And what I find is that the more people use it, the more they're not addressing the problems in their life. If people are looking for the easy escape with substances, what are they escaping from? And can they find healthier escapes? From improving their relationships or getting outside more or picking up hobbies. And those changes are a lot harder than just eating an edible or using some marijuana. But nowadays, the risk is a lot higher. The marijuana products out there now are just way more potent than they were when I was a teenager, or when a lot of people think, oh, back in my day, a little marijuana, it was no big deal. Well, the standard stuff is 10 times more potent than it was, let alone the high-powered stuff like dab pens, vape pens that are just ridiculously potent. So you can overdose on marijuana. They didn't used to think that that was possible, but now with these high-potency variations that are all genetically engineered and hydroponically grown, it's just a whole other game. So with the marijuana, one example of what can happen when somebody overdoses is their blood pressure, heart. It puts a lot of strain on their system, and can cause a lot of autonomic dysfunction, dysregulation of heart problems and blood pressure and cardiac stuff, let alone the mental health stuff. So relating to that one term that I think is useful to highlight how bad things can go is a term called scromiting. First I heard of that term was from an ER doc out in Colorado, where marijuana was first legalized for recreational use. And it basically describes when somebody, let's say, gets a hold of an edible, maybe 1/4 of the bar, the candy bar or whatever, is considered a dose. They might eat the whole thing. So you see these kids, maybe, or teenagers daring each other to eat the whole thing, come on, I dare you, and these kind of things. Or people just don't know any better. Or a little kid gets a hold of it and thinking it's just plain candy. A lot of this market is marketed to kids now, these gummies and candies and stuff. It's really disturbing. But anyway, so overdosing on marijuana products like THC can lead to scromining, where somebody basically has such a bad trip, they're psychotic. They are out of their mind. They do not know what's going on. And they are, as a result, screaming because they're just terrified. With that comes the body's physical reaction of vomiting. So your body's trying to expel the toxin by vomiting. And so you can join those terms, screaming and vomiting, you get scromining. And they see that in the emergency rooms with these acute overdoses. So it's not good for you, okay? So THC, marijuana, as much as it's been hyped as coming out of the ground, oh, it's a plant, and all those things. Well, there's a lot of toxic plants that you can eat and they'll kill you. Think about where THC evolved, like in a plant in a similar way to nicotine and opium and stuff that evolved in plants. They're basically evolutionary defense mechanisms of plants trying to manufacture a chemical to kill bugs and keep bugs away from them. So basically THC is an insecticide. It's trying to, plants evolved that to defend themselves, and they found a way just by evolution to disrupt the nervous system of various insects and animals that might be eating those plants. So when you're ingesting THC, you're basically, poisoning yourself. Most people don't have horrible reactions to it, at least at low doses. I mean, you can overdose on anything, even water, of course, but some people are really sensitive to it, just like alcohol to some degree. Some people makes them happier and makes them more cheerful or flirtatious or whatever. But some people, alcohol really disagrees with them and makes them angry or volatile or depressed or moody. It's just some people get really addicted to it. And yes, marijuana is addictive. About 10% of people will actually develop an addiction to it. So the old adage that, oh, you can't get addicted to marijuana, you can't overdose on it, that's no longer the case, because marijuana isn't like the roadside swag that people would smoke in the 60s and 70s. It's a whole different ballgame. So I hope this information is useful. If you want me to answer any other questions about marijuana, other substances, I'll cover in other videos, but please subscribe to the channel. I really appreciate that, and you guys take care, okay? Bye.